Have you ever walked into someone's home and just stopped for a second? Not because something was wrong, but because everything felt so right. The surfaces were clear, the air felt lighter, and there was this quiet sense of calm that hit you the moment you stepped through the door. And you stood there wondering, how does this person live like this every single day? You looked around for the hidden trick, the cleaning service, the extra hours they must somehow have in their day, but deep down, you already knew. There was no secret. There was just something fundamentally different about the way this person lived, the way they thought, the way they related to their own space. And that difference, that gap between them and most of us, is exactly what we are going to break down today. Here's the thing that nobody tells you. The people who always have a clean home are not more disciplined than you. They aren't spending their weekends scrubbing floors or sacrificing their free time to maintain some impossible standard. And they are certainly not some rare breed of human being who simply loves cleaning more than the rest of us. What they have done, whether they know it or not, is build a completely different mental relationship with their environment. Their brain is wired in a way that makes maintaining their space feel automatic, almost effortless. And by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how that wiring works, why it matters far beyond just having a tidy home, and most importantly, how you can begin building it for yourself, starting today. Let us start with something your brain is doing right now without your permission. There's a concept in environmental psychology called cognitive load. Think of cognitive load as the total bandwidth your brain has available at any given moment. Every task, decision, and stimulus in your environment takes up a piece of that bandwidth. And here's where it gets interesting. Physical clutter is one of the most relentless thieves of mental bandwidth, and it steals from you even when you're not looking at it. A study from Princeton University confirmed what many of us have felt but never been able to name. Physical clutter competes for your attention constantly, even when you are focused on something else entirely. Every pile of dishes, every unread stack of mail, every item left out of place is registered by your brain as unfinished business. And unfinished business is mentally expensive in a way that quietly drains you hour after hour. Picture this. You sit down to work on something important. Maybe it's a project, a plan, or even just a relaxing evening you've been looking forward to. But in the background, without you consciously noticing, your visual cortex is processing the clutter around you. The jacket draped over the chair, the dishes still sitting in the sink from breakfast, the laundry pile that has been growing for 3 days. None of it is screaming at you, none of it is demanding attention, but all of it is quietly competing for the mental resources you are trying to direct elsewhere. Your focus splinters, your thoughts feel heavier. You can't figure out why you feel vaguely unsettled, vaguely tired, even in the moments when nothing particularly stressful is happening. That's not a coincidence. That's your environment working against you. Now, flip the picture entirely. When your space is clean, ordered, and visually calm, your brain exhales. There's no backlog of unfinished signals flooding your nervous system. Your visual field is clear. Your attention has nowhere unnecessary to scatter. And the part of your mind that would normally be running a low-level stress program in the background gets to go quiet. People who maintain a clean home every day are not just tidier people. They're calmer, sharper, more focused versions of themselves for the simple reason that their environment is not constantly eating away at their mental energy. Their space works for them rather than silently draining them. And that single difference compounds over the course of a day, a week, a month, in ways that are genuinely remarkable. But there's something even deeper going on here, something that has nothing to do with dishes or dust. Think about everything in your life that you cannot control. The economy shifting beneath your feet, the traffic that makes you late, the unexpected email from your boss, the way other people behave, the outcomes that were never in your hands to begin with. Most of life is unpredictable, and for most people, that unpredictability creates a background hum of anxiety that never fully disappears. It's always there, just beneath the surface, reminding you that so much is uncertain. But your home is yours. The state of your kitchen counter, whether your bathroom has been wiped down, whether your bed is made in the morning, these things are entirely within your control. And every single time you act on your environment and restore it to order, you send your nervous system a message. You send it the message that says, you're in charge here, that you can handle things, that everything is okay. In psychology, this is connected to what is called the internal locus of control. People who believe their actions genuinely shape their outcomes tend to feel less anxious, more motivated, and more capable of bouncing back when things go wrong. And one of the most accessible, most reliable ways to strengthen that belief every single day is to take ownership of the one environment you actually control. When you make your bed in the morning, when you wipe down the counter before you leave for work, when you wash the dishes before bed instead of leaving them for tomorrow, you're not just cleaning, you're practicing the deeply human skill of following through on what you said you would do. And that practice builds something in you that extends far beyond your kitchen. Now here's the piece that I believe is the real key to everything we're talking about, and it comes down to one word: identity. The people who keep a clean home every day are not doing it because they have found some magical motivation that you lack. They're doing it because somewhere deep down, through consistent action and visible results, they stopped being someone who cleans and became someone who lives cleanly. That distinction sounds subtle, but it changes everything. When a behavior becomes part of your identity, it no longer requires willpower. It no longer requires convincing yourself to do it. It simply becomes an expression of who you are, as automatic as the way you tie your shoes or the route you take to work without thinking about it. Here's how behavioral psychology explains it. We act in alignment with who we believe we are. If somewhere deep down you believe you are a disorganized, messy person, someone who has always been this way and probably always will be, then your behavior will continue to confirm that story. You'll leave things out. You'll tell yourself you'll deal with it later. You'll let the pile grow because that's just what messy people do, and on some level, you believe that's you. But here's the truth that will set you free. Identity is not fixed. Identity is not something you are born with or permanently assigned. Identity is built, piece by piece, through the evidence of your own actions. Every time you wipe the table after dinner, every time you hang up your coat instead of dropping it on the chair, every time you put a dish away immediately instead of leaving it in the sink, you're depositing a small but real piece of evidence into the story of who you are. This is why your morning matters more than any other time of day when it comes to building this habit. Right after waking up, your brain is in a uniquely receptive state. Cortisol, your natural alertness hormone, spikes in the early morning and actually creates a window where your brain is more plastic, more open to forming and reinforcing new patterns. What this means practically is that the habits you build into your morning are the ones most likely to become automatic, hardwired, and permanent. So when the first act of your day is to make your bed or to wipe down the kitchen before your coffee is done brewing, you're doing something neurologically powerful. You're using that window to etch the behavior a little deeper into your brain each time. And over days, weeks, and months, what required effort slowly stops requiring effort at all. There's also something profoundly satisfying about completing a task and seeing it clearly. When you make your bed and step back and look at it, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine. That's not a metaphor. That's a literal neurochemical reward for completing something with a visible result. A made bed, a clean sink, a clear countertop. These are what psychologists call completion loops, and they're one of the most underrated sources of daily motivation available to you. Admiral William McRaven, in a commencement speech that went viral around the world, made this point beautifully when he said, "Making your bed in the morning gives you that first small sense of pride, and that pride pushes you towards the next task and the next, and by the end of the day, the momentum of that one act has multiplied into many completed things." The compound effect of this is not just a cleaner home, it's a more productive, more purposeful day, every single day. Here's something you may have never been told directly, and it deserves to be said plainly. Your clutter is not neutral. It's not just stuff sitting around harmlessly waiting for a more convenient time. Clutter is a signal. Almost always, it's either a symptom of something happening on the inside or it is actively causing it. Research published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people who described their homes as cluttered had measurably higher levels of cortisol throughout the day compared to those who described their homes as restful and calm. Not occasionally higher, chronically higher,
all day long, every day they spent in that environment. If you've been wondering why you feel inexplicably tired when you come home, why you can't seem to fully relax in the evenings, why your space that is supposed to be your refuge somehow feels like another source of low-grade stress, this might be the answer you've been looking for. And here's something else worth knowing.